questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Elmwood-Transcona.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You know, earlier tonight I heard another Conservative MP talk about Fahrenheit 451, and I thought maybe he was about to start talking about when the Harper government closed a number of libraries that were world-renowned for fisheries and oceans, and they actually burned a bunch of books and other material at that time. And it wasn't what he chose to talk about, but it was an example of how governments do indeed have agendas, and it is important to defend the freedom of people against the tyranny of governments, but it's equally important to defend people against the tyranny of wealthy private interests, which is a continuous blind spot of the leader of the Conservatives. I think about when he talks about inflation, you'd think it's only government spending that drove inflation. He cites the Governor of the Bank of Canada. Governor of the Bank of Canada has also said at the Finance Committee that companies are raising prices well above the increase in their input costs. And he talks about, you know, government putting more Canadian content in the algorithms that show Canadians what they see in their news feeds or in their streams. But the fact of the matter is that right now, those same social media platforms, without any supervision, without any transparency, also make decisions about what people say. He says that we should trust in the greed of corporations to create an online meritocracy. But let's get real. You think social media platforms aren't showing people more disinformation about C-11 right now because it's in their interest?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Gotcha. We caught him. Just at the end there, the truth just jumped out of his lips. He said the problem is that disinformation, like the opinions expressed here today, would not be allowed if C-11 were able to be passed, which is an admission that they believe that government should be able to decide what is true and what is false, and censor out what it does not like. That is exactly what we suspected from the beginning. But what happens when it's the government that's a liar? The government here who said that the Prime Minister did not interfere in the prosecution of S&C Lab, that turned out to be false. They said the budget would be balanced in 2019. That turned out to be false. Do I have to go down the long list of falsehoods stated by government? So now we're supposed to trust this same government to censor out what is truth. I guess that they believe that there should be a ministry of truth, populated with people who agree with them. Madam Speaker, the only way to distill the truth is through the hot cauldron of debate, not through the clamping down of censorship. And that's why we believe in allowing people to make their own decisions. They might think that they're the watchman over there, Madam Speaker, but the question is, who watches the watchman? The only ones who can do that are the citizens.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You know, there's one kind of threat to free debate, which is to silence people. Another way of silence people is by putting words in their mouth. What I said earlier was that I'm concerned, and I think it's naive to expect that social media platforms don't have an agenda, and that as they write those algorithms in private, outside of any kind of transparency or accountability, that they don't consider their own self-interest in the ways that they promote particular kinds of content. The point isn't to say that someone else is going to police all of that content. C-11 is talking about promoting Canadian content within the feeds of Canadians. I don't think there's anything particularly nefarious about that. I think there is room for a reasonable debate about how that gets defined. But what I was saying earlier was that I don't understand why this guy who says that he's so concerned about freedom doesn't care a whit about what's going on behind closed doors right now with people that are accountable to no one and have all the power and control he says he's...
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition, 15 seconds.
Let's be clear. The member is not proposing to take away any power from Google or Facebook or any other social media giant. All he's proposing to do is give the government the power to manipulate the controls that those social media platforms already have. Right now, the social media algorithms are designed to give people the stuff they want to see, because that's how the social media companies make money. Just like a restaurant gives people the food they want to eat. The government wants to take away the power of people to choose for themselves and have government authorities decide for them.